The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of ACUMA, its board of directors, its management staff, or its members. The podcast discussion presented is conversational in nature and for general information only.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of ACUMA's OnPoint Podcast. I'm your host, Peter Benjamin. I couldn't be more excited to be here with you, sharing the stories of people who are making a positive impact in our industry. Today's episode is being brought to you by Black Knight, a leading provider of integrated software, data, and analytics for the mortgage lending and servicing industries. Joining me today from Black Knight, my co-host and Black Knight's Chief Digital Officer, Sandra Madigan. Sandra, welcome.
Thank you, Peter. It's a pleasure to be here, and I love hanging out with you guys, so
awesome.
Glad to be here.
I love it. No, hey, Sandra, today we're going to sit down with someone who probably needs no introduction. He is the founder and the president of the National Association of Minority Mortgage Bankers of America, Tony Thompson. Now, today, this the man, the myth, the legend, we're going to do our best to discuss his passion and dream for the industry and his vision for NAMBA. Maybe we'll touch on his love of coffee, maybe not. But, bottom line is, let's get to know Tony a bit. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, hey, Tony, you there, buddy?
Peter, how's it going?
Hey, it's living the dream. Living the dream. Thank you for asking. Hey, Sandra and Tony, before we get too far down the line and too far into the conversation, I want to make sure that we get a few updates from the ACUMA team on a lot of great things that we have going on in ACUMA. Hey, Cameron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
That's awesome. Hey, it's a busy time for us, right? I mean, we have a lot going on. Definitely.
Lots coming up. It's going to be a great 2023.
Sure. Hey, so do me a favor. Walk us through some things we have coming up in the near future.
Of course. So we have our newly launched Young Professionals Network. That is coming up really soon. Our first virtual meeting is actually February 22nd. 1 p.m. Central, so definitely save the date for that.
Hey, do me a favor. Give me a little bit more detail on the Young Professional Network, but also the first meeting. What's going to be discussed?
Of course. So the network, it's really a place for credit union mortgage professionals, 40 years of age and younger, to come together to network, learn, grow, just have a place to communicate with our peers. And our first meeting is actually going to be on building your LinkedIn profile or improving it and improving your personal brand. So super interesting stuff, and we'll have a great speaker.
Okay, awesome. What else do we have going on?
We have our workshops that you guys know and love. The first one is going to be in March in Dallas, Texas, and then our second in Louisville in Kentucky in June. Okay. Then we have our summits as well. So those are all new credit union only events, free to attend. And the first one is in April in DC area in Arlington, Virginia. And the second is in the Denver area in May.
Okay. Awesome. I think we're keeping a little busy, aren't we?
Definitely. Always a good thing though.
It is good. It is, Cameron. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, Sandra. So, I had the pleasure of meeting you at our annual conference, and you said a lot of great things there. And I was so excited to have you back as our co-host to our first podcast. We want to get to know you. We want to learn more about you. But first, can you give us a quick update on everything that's happening over at Black Knight?
Yeah, absolutely. As you can imagine, our industry this year is a little bit of a difficult year, right? Originations are like way far down. But in the same breath, there's a lot of uncertainty with what's going to happen with homeowners as they exit everything that was available to them from a forbearance perspective, loss mitigation, and all of that. On top of that, we're in a market where there's an incredible amount of equity in these houses still. So Black Knight is really laser focused on delivering on all three of those, trying to figure out how we can help originators get those mortgages through the process faster and at a lower cost, ensuring that we have everything in place for that homeowner that may need help should they have to exit forbearance and go into some sort of loss mitigation. And then lots of emphasis on home equity to be able to help borrowers tap into that now that refinancing may not be in your best financial interest.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. And again, I had the pleasure of meeting you at our annual conference in Vegas this past, late September, and you talked passionately about our industry and things that we need to do to, expand home ownership, which I greatly appreciated. I think your message echoed loud and clear with a lot of people in attendance. One of the things, I want to make sure that everyone listening to our podcast, again, this is intended to be stories of people making positive impacts on our industry. One of the things I want to know about you is what motivates you, what drives you, what you place one foot out of bed just like everyone else does, but what keeps you going? What keeps that passion alive for our industry for you?
Yeah, so I'd say I'm one of those people that is blessed to love what I do, and I really love our industry. My kids get annoyed; they say you're too giddy about your job, mommy, and I'm like, and I get it, but I don't think there's a global understanding, I would say, within the United States of how important mortgage ownership really is, how much of a wealth builder it becomes. Coming again from South America, from a third world country, there is nowhere the types of mortgages, availability, the 30-year mortgage, the intervention of the government in it, anything like we have in the United States. And it's so tied to the American dream. To me, it's how could we not in our industry wake up every morning, right, with our heads held high and wear a badge of honor that we're really contributing to that American dream. So to me, it is one of the things I'm constantly trying to figure out, whether it's on the origination side or the data side or on the servicing side, how can we make things better for that end borrower, that end consumer?
I love it. I can hear the passion in your voice, and I applaud you, and I thank you for having that passion, because you're part of a group that's helping our industry get better one day at a time. So thank you very much for that.
Good.
Now, Sandra, I could probably talk to you all episode, but we have someone kind of who's surprisingly uncharacteristically being quiet right now. So maybe we should turn our attention over to him and really get to know Tony for a little bit. Does that sound good?
No, that sounds awesome. And I can tell you, Cameron talked about this young professional network being launched. A little bit disappointed that's 40 and younger. I'm going to say I'm 10 years over the age limit on that one. But I know, Tony, you're passionate about young people in our industry as well. And I think maybe that is the point, right? Here you have a 50-year-old woman that's a chief digital officer at Black Knight. We want to see young people come and energize into our industry. And I know it's a big passion on yours. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you've launched?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really excited about 2023, only for the simple fact that at some point, no matter what business you're in, whether it's on the tech side, the title, the originations, we all have to plan for the future. And so one of the things that NAMBLA is really passionate about, what is part of our core mission every day through our NAMBLA Foundation, our 501c3, is our Mission 2025 program. This year, we are officially launching 100 chapters on college campuses to bring in and find and identify the next Sandra, the next Peter, the next Cameron, the next Tony, potentially, hopefully. Yeah. And the goal here with our Mission 2025 program is to connect over 50,000 students with exciting opportunities in our industry, whether they be for title, whether they are for mortgage lending, real estate, finance, secondary. It doesn't matter. I like to say that we have a job for everyone in this industry. And the second piece of that is, we combine that with also focusing on helping to connect with this generation to introduce home ownership at a much earlier age. we understand the importance of home ownership and building wealth. But what we found is that a lot of young people, potentially, especially millennials, truly don't understand what it takes and how the opportunities are available for them to become homeowners.
So Tony, real quick, you talked about, ushering a new era for, a younger generation to become homeowners younger than what we probably did, right? What is the current, average age for someone entering, I guess, home ownership?
Yeah, great question. Peter, we just have hot off the press through Cultural Outreaches, which is one of our family companies, where we surveyed 1,000 millennials who had purchased a home in the last 12 months or was getting ready to purchase a home in the next 12 months. And essentially, that age group was from 21 to 40. So as Sandra said, I'm a little bit over that senior. I like to say I'm a senior millennial. At least in my heart, anyway. But what we found in our survey of 1,000 millennials, the average age of the respondents that took the survey was 32 years old. And they gave us an incredible amount of feedback, some of which we may be able to share with you later on during this podcast.
Okay, 32. Interesting. So at that point in time, you have, I guess, kind of that middle of the road millennial, right? They're not the youngest of the millennials. They're not certainly not the oldest, but that was the average age for someone becoming a homeowner. That's interesting. Yeah, and so the goal would be
and I didn't mean to interrupt, Peter.
No, you're good.
Think about that. We just said that this year in 23, we're launching 100 chapters on college campuses to connect students to increase home ownership. And the reason for that is real simple. There's a 10-year gap. Most students graduate at 22 to 30, 22 or 23, and yet our average age for our millennial survey for 2022 was 32 years old. So think about 10 years of wealth building for these young, multicultural, all ethnicities, but anyone who misses out on 10 years of the stock market or 10 years of home appreciation, that's a huge generational wealth building opportunity.
It is. So what do you think has to occur in order for us to be able to lower that number from 32, we'll say, to 28?
So first and foremost, we as lending professionals have to understand that right now, over the next 3 to 5 years, our primary focus to tap into this growing market from a multicultural, from a millennial perspective in terms of homeowners, is establishing and building trusted relationships. And here's the reason. One of the survey questions we asked recently on this millennial survey, what percent of lenders are trustworthy and reliable? Out of 1,000 respondents, only 44% of the millennials said that they trusted and they found that their lender was reliable. 44%. So what that says is, as an industry, we have a reputational problem, but also we have an opportunity to really, at the end of the day, educate, connect, and engage this future demographic of the new home buyer to who we are, what we do, and our commitment to help them build generational wealth.
Yeah. Hey, Tony, one of the things that we had covered in the session we presented that Peter referenced was our reluctancy as an industry to adopt new technologies to educate and communicate. And we touched, I think, if you remember, Peter, on TikTok a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And how we had helped one customer work through their CRM campaign, if you may, on creating videos for TikTok, and how even in the audience, I can tell you, Tony, everybody's like, I am not quite sure about that. I have to run the compliance traps and all of that. But do you think we miss an opportunity because we're so late to the game in the industry in adopting all these communication tools?
Sandra, you hit the nail on the head as it relates to another areas that companies and will need to embrace, and that is really the customer and client journey. And what I can tell you is what we're seeing from today's buyer and tomorrow's buyer is that there is a new customer journey, and how using digital is very important. And for companies like Black Knight that provides the right solutions to the market, to their clients, enabling them to leverage that digital platform is very important in really attracting in engaging this future buyer. For example, in our recent survey, again, of 1,000 millennials, 44% started that journey on YouTube, 32% Facebook, but right behind that was Instagram with 28 and 22% TikTok. And so as you look over the horizon, the next 3 to 5 years, the digital strategy and the digital connection to the consumer from a lender's perspective is going to be paramount.
So what is that next phase, though, right? It's social is part of it, right? But it's also the overall experience, right? Is there, and it's not just experience from, yes, the human interaction, right? Although with the human interaction, I'm pretty sure if everyone would go to a credit union, that trustworthy number would be increased.
We hope so. Absolutely.
But there's also the technology piece, right? Like what's missing from your standpoint, Tony? What is missing that would allow a millennial to be, or a younger generational millennial to step into the home ownership sooner than 32? Is there something missing, or are they looking for something that we're not doing? I mean, what is it?
Yeah. So, what we heard from the respondents, and again, this was 1,000 millennials of all different ethnicities, all different MSAs across the country, both rural and urban. And what we see here as an emerging trend is that millennials and the future home buyers, and again, this is a $2.9 trillion market that we've sized up in the multicultural the next 5 years. So for any credit union, this is a huge opportunity to grow membership. This is a huge opportunity to serve more people in your market. The key is understanding that they want to be communicated and have a different journey than what we've done pre the pandemic. And so this is where your digital platform, your digital marketing, and the digital experience, because most of the students, or excuse me, not students, but most of the millennials who took our survey, what they said is, hey, I'm starting my journey out on a digital space where I want the ability, once I identify that lender, that potential realtor, I want to be able to connect and engage with my particular credit union in different mediums, whether that is text, whether that is email, whether that's in person, whether that is by video chat, or all of the above. I want the ability to go in and out of those omni-channel mediums.
Okay, so all right, so okay, I think that's a good transition to next 5 years. In your mind, what do we need to do? Then let's focus on the next 10 years. What do we need to do?
For any credit union looking to go deeper into the highest potential, highest growth market areas, which are single women who are enrolling in college at a rate of 2 to 1 in men today, according to NACE, the National Association of College Educators, millennials, communities of color, in the LGBT market. For any credit union that wants to go deeper into that marketplace, the most important thing that they must do today is develop an engagement plan that allows them to connect and educate the potential consumer. We're not talking about Sandra or I, who may have owned 1, 2, 3, 4 homes or more during our lifetime based on our corporate relocation that we may have had while working in corporate America. We're talking about individuals that are getting ready to make the largest financial transaction of their life, and yet they don't understand anything about the transaction, the process, what's required. And so for credit unions, the more they are already, your competitive advantages, you're already in the community. What we have to do now is connect that community through education, through awareness, and through financial literacy. Because remember, only 44% of the respondents, which are, statistically correct, is why we do 1,000. Only 44% said that they trusted their lender. So this has an opportunity where, in order to really understand the pipeline to cultivate loans in the future over the next 3 years, Peter, is all about engaging that potential buyer or consumer, particularly if they're a millennial, and educating them to build and establish trust. Once you build and establish trust, you then bring them on as a client, and then you have a digital process, a digital platform, very similar to what Black Knight provides from a technology solution standpoint to make the experience easier and more streamlined and more cost effective.
I mean, what you're getting at is, by really doing these things today, when you're focusing on the next 5 years, education is big for me, and that was a big message I took out of what you just said. It's not just the millennials, right? It's yes, we talk a lot about millennials because they are the largest generational cohort, right? But I mean, Gen Z is right behind them as far as coming of age, getting ready to buy houses. I mean, it's some, many Gen Zers. I mean, please forgive me. I guess I'm 43, so I mean, I guess I'm outside of the YPN network also. But they they are at that point where they're entering the workforce and are starting to have jobs that allow them to buy homes. But by starting now with that education, we can eventually start focusing on Gen Z, which is quickly becoming up, and starting getting that repetition of attracting younger homeowners, right? Absolutely. Or am I missing the boat? All right, good. Okay. All right, good.
If I could add, Peter, a quick question, Tony, when you talk about development in this engagement plan that credit unions have to embark on, I always think about, we normally bring young, and we call our group of 13 because they used to be 13-year-olds. Now some of them are 14, 15, to ask them questions just so we can see what's happening 10 years down the road. What have I completely missed? And it was, we were talking about e-notarized and being able to do everything electronically. And one of the young boys in the group actually said, don't you think they want to meet me and shake my hand before they let me sign the loan documents for a mortgage? And again, this is like a 14, 15-year-old, right? So thinking from the future, that development and engagement plan, it goes to trust, doesn't it, Tony? To be able to actually know it's not just putting technology, and don't get me wrong, I'm a technology provider, so I'm all about technology, but I can't just send you a link and hope that everything goes great. That journey, there's a personal touch in that. And credit unions to me are so fantastic in retaining their members and having that. Isn't that like a huge rock in this engagement plan that you talk about?
Yeah, absolutely, Sandra. Technology is a great enabler to an exceptional customer experience. And so it's important that credit unions understand, first and foremost, technology should be used to engage and connect and communicate, but where the opportunity comes is to build trust. That takes on a one-to-one relationship. And so one of the biggest opportunities that, again, credit unions have in this environment is how to position themselves in that local market as the trusted advisor that can educate and help the clients in those particular segments understand the benefits of home ownership and then walk them through that process by leveraging the technology tools and resources of a company like Black Knight from a digital perspective. Absolutely.
Just thinking back to my time on the lending side, and it was always about having home buying seminars, in-person home buying seminars, of course, pre-pandemic, home buying seminars in a location or within our community, right? So if we wanted to target, a certain community, we would make sure that a home buying seminar was there and easy for people to get to. We would also make sure that we were connected with, local community colleges, because I think that was right down the street. They have great spaces for us to be able to deliver the educational content that we wanted. At the same time, it was still targeting a younger generation that, let's be honest, when you go to community college, people of all ages are at community college, and you just never know what could happen. They could be ready for a home buying seminar. They could be ready to buy a house, but no matter what, they're interested in that education piece because they're already in that environment. We even tried, having home buying seminars at breweries, and it worked. People attended, but I don't think it was for the education piece. I think they just wanted a beer, but that's okay. I'll take it. So Tony, we have a few minutes left, but let's pivot to NAMBA. Thank you for sharing, everything that you did so far. But NAMBA is a quickly growing association. You have members joining, regularly, and I applaud you for all your efforts, that you're doing for our industry, as well as what your organization's doing for our industry as well. What's on the horizon for NAMBA? What's next for your association?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, Peter, talk about a great organization. I want to give a shout out to you and your entire team over at ACUMA, because I think a lot of times members and your board sometimes don't know the great work that goes on behind the scenes. But I have the luxury, and my team, we have the luxury of collaborating a lot with you and your team. And so I want to give hats off to you guys because of your passion to serve your members, to serve the credit union space. And at the end of the day, help them to do good by doing good. And that's really kind of where NAMBA is in our industry right now. I just did a clip for our partners saying, we're here for you. This year, it is all about being here for our industry. 6 years ago, NAMBA was founded and everyone's like, do we need it? Is it, what can it do? Now, 6 years later, we're getting ready to bring in and usher in the next generation of college students by launching 100 chapters to connect them with great talent and great organizations and credit unions across the country. The second piece of that is we realize now more than ever that how we are going to acquire customers will be radically different than how we've acquired customers the last 3 years. And so our goal at NAMBA is we want to help companies do good by doing good. And we've created our ACEL certification program to do that, which stands for the Accredited Social Impact Lender Certification. I'm excited to say, Peter, as you know, we have a number of credit unions in that, and that's going to be limited to only 5% of lenders in the country will be able to say they have an ACEL. But really, at the end of the day, what the ACEL will do is help create a holistic go-to-market comprehensive strategy for lenders to engage and connect with the multicultural market while also at the same time growing diversity, equity, and inclusion in their organization. And so for me, realizing that there are organizations that want to go from good to great and great to awesome, that's what gets me up every day. That's what gets me going. And that's what I'm passionate about, other than having this cup of Starbucks coffee with me.
And you and I, recently have talked a lot about, the ACEL program and the steps that it takes for an organization to achieve the ACEL program. And it's not an easy feat. I mean, it's a long process. And I was in many ways proud of our side of the mortgage industry, the credit union mortgage industry, for seeing and learning about the number of credit unions that are going through that process. Credit unions are committed to our communities, and we are member focused, service driven. It's in our DNA to want to expand homeownership for the communities that we serve. Yeah. And the commitment for so many credit unions to go through this process. I mean, it's one, I applaud you for coming up with this certification, because it's needed. But two, again, I applaud them because, like I said, it's not easy. I mean, this isn't something you just get after 1 month, right? I mean, this could take a year. It could take multiple years, I guess, in theory, right? So good. I mean, good for them. Good for my side or our side of the industry, because it's such an achievement. It truly is.
Well, and again, the way that we're going to make a difference in the communities, in every community that we serve, is making sure that we serve everyone in the community. And so that's really the focus of the ACEL program, is to make sure no borrower is left behind, no member is left behind. And as I stated, we say we like to help credit unions and organizations do good, which is, grow home ownership, while also at the same time doing good, which is growing profitability and market share at the same time. I believe you can do both.
I agree. Totally agree. I mean, that's couldn't say it better myself. Well, Tony, I appreciate you walking us through all of that, and Sandra, I appreciate everything that you said today. Now we are approaching time, but before we go, we're going to transition to my second favorite segment of this podcast. The first being the interview, of course. But my second favorite session or section of this episode is we do a little fun facts, and we have some fun. Sometimes it's fun facts, sometimes it's trivia, sometimes it's just random statistics that I hope you guess and probably can't guess. And who knows? Maybe some days we'll do some bad dad jokes. But today, to kind of start off, we're gonna do some fun facts. Now, recently it was Valentine's Day. Now, no matter how you feel about this holiday, I still think it's appropriate for us to do some little fun facts about Valentine's Day, since it was so recent. Now, here's what we're gonna do. I have a series of interesting facts I got from the United States Census. I'll ask some just general questions, and I'll have you each guess. Some cases I'll have them be higher or lower. In some cases I may ask, for multiple answers. But no matter what, we'll see if we can guess them. We'll see if we can land on them. Okay. So here's the first one. Okay. So again, based off the United States Census, can you guess which two states produce the most chocolate per year? Which two states produce the most chocolate per year? We'll start with Sandra. Ladies first. Sandra, can you guess the first two states that produce the most chocolate per year?
I would have to say Pennsylvania's got to be up there just because of Hershey's. And then just based on population, perhaps California?
Okay. Tony.
I was going to say California, and let's go with New York.
New York, really? Okay. Okay. Well, Sandra was correct. It was Pennsylvania and California. Now, Sandra, which one produces more, California or Pennsylvania?
I would say Pennsylvania.
California, actually.
Wow.
A lot more. So let's transition to the next one, okay? Because I think it will help. Okay. Let me see. Where am I? Actually, here's a good one. Okay. Can you guess? Let's just throw out some random numbers. The number of candy and nut stores across the country.
Oh my.
Sorry, Tony.
The number of candy and nuts.
So the United States Census kind of grouped candy and nut stores or candy stores as to in one category. So I don't know why it's candy and nuts, but candy, apparently you sell nuts alongside candy. But I guess you can just also be a candy shop. So how many candy stores are there across the United States?
If I take out all the Starbucks who sell almonds and nuts, I mean, that is considered candy, right?
That is.
If I extrapolate all the Starbucks out, I'm going to go with probably about 1,850. The number just sounds good to me.
1,850. All right. Sandra, higher or lower than 1,850?
Higher.
Okay. Give me a number.
I'm thinking it's close to 1 million.
1 million. Okay. There are 3,000 candy and nut stores in the United States. 3,000. Of those, 141 of them, 600 of them are in California, and just shy of 500 are in Pennsylvania. Let's break down chocolate makers. How many chocolate makers across the United States are there? Across the United States. Sandra.
Say 60.
60 chocolate makers.
Yep.
Okay. Tony.
We'll go with 45.
Okay. 45. Okay. There are 1,000 chocolate makers in the United States. And the funny thing is, we think of Hershey, right? Hershey.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mars, but it's Mars. There's the one in San Francisco, the one starts with a G. The one with the eagle.
Yep.
I don't know the name of it, but 1,000 chocolate makers
Wow.
in the United States. Of that, 141 of them are in California, 115 are in Pennsylvania. So apparently it's more than Hershey in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting, right? All right. So we'll do one more question. All right. It has a leading question. Esther Howland of Massachusetts is given credit for selling the first mass-produced Valentine's Day card. What year did Esther Howland produce the first mass-produced Valentine's Day card? Give me a year, Tony.
1825.
Ooh. You went back. Okay. Sandra, give me a year.
I'm going to say 1910.
1910. All right. So somewhere in the middle. Esther Howland of Massachusetts first sold her mass-produced Valentine's Day card in 1840. Tony, you were almost spot on. All right. And just so for everyone listening, I asked them a leading question before we hopped on the podcast just to test their knowledge. I asked them what day that Valentine's Day was recognized as a holiday. And it was, or what year, Valentine's Day was acknowledged as a holiday or declared a holiday. And that was 496 AD. So Valentine's Day has been around for a little bit. Frustrating husbands since 496 AD. All right. Well, Sandra and Tony, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedules to meet with us today. I truly enjoyed our conversation. I applaud both of you for being such great leaders in our industry. More importantly, contributing so much to the credit union mortgage industry. I also want to thank Black Knight for sponsoring today's episode. Without your support, we would not be able to bring such great content to our members. Also, be on the lookout for future episodes of the ACUMA ONpoint podcast. Other than that, thank you very much for listening. And Tony and Sandra, again, thank you for your time. Hope everyone stays safe. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time at the ACUMA ONpoint podcast. If not already, be sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. For more great episodes and information, be sure to visit us online at acuma.org. And to get the latest updates, head over to our LinkedIn page.